trying to be out there in that rain.
Oh.
What's up, everybody? This is Bill Foster's Real Talk Chronicles. I'm your host. I got my co-host Richard Williams in the building, and I got a special guest, my neighbor, for many, many years. I don't even know how many years it's been, but he's been my neighbor. He's known my family. I've known his family, and we have become family. So it was just an honor for him to join us tonight. Also, we have Stefania coming in. She's going to hang out with us for a few. She says, "Hi, guys." She's commuting. So with all that being said, we know the sponsors: Row House, Soft Illusions Event and Art Gallery, Melba's Chocolat, and Daily Arts and Survival magazine. My man Nathan just came out with a movie, a little documentary about himself, and it's very good. #1 martial arts magazine on Amazon and in the country. So I have to definitely give my brother a shout out, and I was able to get a feature in his magazine, which I was very honored and proud to do that from all standpoints. He thought enough of me to have me in there, and from a martial arts standpoint. First and foremost, let me ask my guests how they doing. How you doing, Rich?
You know what? I woke up with the 2 C's, a choice and a chance.
That's all that matters, right, bro? That's all that matters. Jimmy, how are you doing?
I'm doing excellent today, and thank you for having me.
Oh, you're always welcome, brother. You're always welcome. For the people that don't know, just give people a little background on what you do. You can talk about the acting. You can talk about your retirement from whatever profession you want to. Just let people know who you are, Jimmy.
Okay, well, currently I'm retired. Actually, I've been retired for 10 years.
And time flies, right?
Yeah, doesn't it though? And I worked for Adult Protective Services. I was a housing court liaison for the Bronx, which was very interesting. And doing my side job as an actor, which is very rough, but very rewarding.
Okay, great. Thank you. So first and foremost, I know, Jimmy, there was some topics you wanted to talk about. We could talk about the Doge. You could talk about the virus. I know Stefania wanted to talk about that. We could also talk about with the slush fund. But Jimmy, I know there was a topic that you wanted to talk about. I think it was the war first that I think you mentioned. So go ahead.
Yeah, I was thinking about the war in Iran, and I think it's something that historically the president and whoever's advising him has really not thought out. This is, in my opinion, it's a war that can't be won. I remember Vietnam, and we bombed and we bombed and we bombed, and we couldn't bomb no more. And then we had to send in troops. And what happened there? 58,000 American soldiers died. Several of my friends died. 1.3 to 3 million Vietnamese died. And the same people who we were trying to overthrow are in power now. And we're kind of in the same position with Iran. Iran is a fortress.
Right.
It's a place that is hard to invade. That's part of the Persian Empire. And it's something, Iran has never been defeated. Geographically, it's a nightmare. And I just don't even know why we're there. This is Israel's war. And it's a war that can't be won. If Trump sends ground troops in, it's going to be a catastrophe.
Yeah. Rich, you want to chime in?
Well, as far as all of these wars go, it's all about money, man. They're not doing anything other than making room for the wealthy to come in and rebuild infrastructure. Just like over there in Palestine, they just demolished Palestine, which was the plan from day one when the Jewish people got there, and I'm saying Jewish people. because they're not really from that region.
Yeah.
They spend all their time trying to get the United States like a big brother. You know how you have a family of guys that are tough in the family, and then there's that one little brother that can't fight at all, but he's the one that always start all the shit.
Talking all the shit. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's Jerusalem. You know, that's the Jewish state. They go in that region, and as far as they're concerned, they're trying to take over everything around them. You know, and a lot of these countries that they're talking about, from Iran, Iraq, and so on, they have Jewish populations that live in these countries already, and don't have any issues with the Palestinians or the Iran, the Iraq, and so on, and they're allowed to practice their religion, and they don't even really talk about that. You know, they don't talk about how many Jewish people lived inside of Palestine that got sacrificed and bombed along with the Palestinians, because the bigger picture is that these Europeans that have converted to Judaism are about grabbing land. It's a money grab, straight like that. The United States does for Israel what they don't even do here in the United States. They take our tax money and give them free health care, free education, free anything, you know. And the crazy thing about it is, when you talk about it, they call it anti-Semitism, to speak against the facts about what they're doing, you know. And in this country, which is, regardless of what anybody says, this is a Christian country, you know. Most of the people that live here that run this country run it through Christianity, and Christianity believes that these people are supposed to be where they are biblically, because when Jesus comes back, he's supposed to deal with the Jews, and Christians blame Jews for killing Jesus, and Jews think it's a joke. You know, they laugh at us. I mean, I've watched rabbis on social media talk about this very thing, how the United States thinks that, you know, Jesus is going to come back and deal with us. And they say it's a bunch of BS. You know, they don't even call him Jesus. They call him J.C. Penney. And these are rabbis, you know, referring to Jesus like that. And all of the big churches in the Bible Belt down south that support Trump, the MAGA Trump supporters, and all of them follow the Christian doctrine, well, their form of Christianity, and they're firm believers that this prophecy is going to happen, and they need Jews to be right where they are for it to happen. And the whole time, these Jews, so-called Jewish people, are running around using the United States like puppets. There's not an election, whether it's a mayor, city council, governor, president. Whenever they have these debates and they have these conversations, this question always pops up out of nowhere for no reason. Do you believe in the state of Israel? And I'm like, what does this have to do? Like with the mayor's race, when all of those people were running, I think it was like 12 or 13, 14 people that were running for mayor, and they were having a debate. At the end of the debate, the moderator asks, if you get elected as mayor, what country do you plan on visiting? And across the board, down the line, everybody said, "Oh, the motherland. Oh, Israel. Oh, everybody said Israel."
Holy land.
When it got to Mandani, he said, "I'm not going anywhere. I'm gonna stay in New York. I don't see the purpose of me going to Israel or any other country. You know, once I get elected, my job is to take care of, you know, the city of New York." And right away, they all jumped on him, especially Cuomo. See, he doesn't believe in the state of Israel. I told you, he's anti-Semitic. I'm like, what is that about? You know? And everybody gets money from Jerusalem to run their campaigns on.
I'm glad you said that, Rich. Let me ask you a question. What do you think, since you just brought up Madani, what do you think about the fact that, and you too, Jimmy, what do you think about so many people are calling him a communist? What's your thoughts on that title, just labeling him that?
People don't understand what communism is. They don't understand what socialism is. You know, it's a word. and it's run. It's very different. It's just like democracy. You go in certain countries, democracy is not the same democracy that we may have here, you know. And we get caught up on these names. Every time you say a name, anti-Semitic, you know, yeah. Well, what does that mean? You know, you're not against Jewish people. You're against a government that has complete control, that manipulates us. You know, that's manipulating the president, that's manipulating our politicians with that AIPAC money. And, you know, it's very difficult dealing with these people, because when you say, there's a lot of Black folks that advocated a form of socialism, democratic socialism, W.B. Du Bois, people like that. And it's, you know, giving people, the common people, a chance. You know, I recently traveled to Dubai.
Okay.
And when I got there, what really kind of freaked me out was how far they had come in just 70 years.
Okay.
You know, and it was a thing that when you got on the street, it was a place that the average person just could enjoy. You didn't have to go to a certain place to enjoy your surroundings. And, you know, that's something that this here particular mayor is trying to do. I don't know if he's going to succeed. I hope he does, you know, because we do need something different, you know.
Yeah. You know, it's so funny. I saw a former coworker of mine came out and called him one of the, like, such a vile name. And another former coworker of mine asked him, he said, yo, like, why would you call him that? You know, it's so funny. I call them out all the time. I hate when they talk about, oh, you know, the hypocrisy of these guys is just crazy to me. Especially with my former coworkers. And I get so disappointed in my Latin brothers when I see them jump that shit, because they just, you're just a boat stop away, just like I was. You know what I'm trying to say? But right now, you just, because you become the first Latin in your family to be a citizen and then become a law enforcement or whatever you've done, like now you have just changed, and all you see is white ideology.
Well, you know what it is too, Bill?
Huh?
That's part of the culture. You know, and what this has brought up, this brought up the racism in the Americas. You know, we have people that come from different places. If you come from Cuba, you think socialism. If you come from Mexico, all of these places, they come here, but they bring their all of their issues, you know, with them. I recently went to Puerto Rico, right? And a friend of mine lives very well. It's Latin, very well. Took a city job, and he's made out very well. But he showed me where he lived. We went to a restaurant, and the restaurant was on the river, and there was nothing but these shacks. And he lived in one of those shacks. And he told me that they only ate meat once a week, and he had to go into the ocean and get fish. So there was no jobs there. They took the sugar cane and everything that Puerto Rico used to produce. And so you come here and you're able to get a job. Maybe you get a job with a city job. People were able to come and get a city job, which enabled them, you know, through the pension system and everything, able to buy a home and everything. And so to them, America is the greatest.
Right.
And they don't see the struggle how we saw it. You know, they experienced something different. We all have experienced something different. And instead of combining those, all of those different scenarios that they've had together, and it's like something that Booker T. Washington said. He said, we can be as separate as the fingers on the hand in all things social.
Mm-hmm.
But in all things mutual, we have to be one as the fist.
Right.
And
right.
for a lot of us growing up, that's what we thought that it would be with other minorities. But they don't understand that concept.
Right. You know, Rich, let me go back to you. Let's all welcome Stefania in the building. Hey, sis, how are you?
How are you?
Hi,
How you doing?
hello, how are you doing? I'm well. How are you?
Good. I was asking the gentleman the question. We started talking about Madani, and I asked him. I said, "Well, how do they feel about him being called a socialist?" And Jimmy had just alluded to his thoughts and stuff like that. Now I'm gonna go to Rich, and then I'll give you a chance to think about your answer in regards to that. And go ahead, Rich. I'll yield to you.
Well, like the brother said before, most people don't even know what a socialist is or a communist is. And this country is so supposedly built on democracy, which means majority rules, right? So we vote, and the majority will select positions of government and power, right?
Yes.
But socialists, by definition, simply means that they put social needs and the needs of the people over individual profit, right? So this country is built on the fact that when they say, oh, you can become America and be who you want to be and be as rich as you can, get yourself to be, through whatever hard work or whatever it is that you do, it's for you to rise above everyone else, right? Communism and socialism, if you go to communist countries, I remember I had a doctor who was from Russia, and he had told me that when the Soviet Union broke up, which was communism then, that everybody was allowed to leave, because prior to that, you couldn't just leave the Soviet Union or Russia. They called it defecting. Whenever athletes would come to play against the United States or any Olympic thing,
yes,
like, the athletes would defect to stay here, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when the Soviet Union fell, people were then allowed to just leave. And the guy told me the problem with that is that they didn't have money to leave, because in his country, nobody had money because everything was provided for you. If you were a doctor, you got the same thing that a street sweeper got. You were provided a place to live, you were provided food, shelter, whatever the necessities of life were, you were given that, right? So nobody was ever hungry. Nobody never, didn't have what they needed to survive in that society, right?
Right.
You were not allowed to get filthy rich and then use your wealth to manipulate those around you, right? But in this country, everybody likes this country because you can get more money than the person next to you if your hustle is a little stronger.
Yeah.
So this is what the individual's rights are, or God-given rights a person should have, but you got to look at the downside and the upside to that. Would you rather live in a country where you never had to worry about your medical benefits or money or a place to live or anything, right? And work and do whatever you want as far as your profession was, but you weren't allowed to monetize that.
Mm-hmm.
Or even live the confines of where you live and travel and stay there. You would have to return, right? And then they always say that the laws are different, where you can, they can come in your house because somebody accused you of something and throw you in jail, and you don't have any rights to due process, right? So these are the things that we're looking at from the outside of what's going on inside.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
Now, Cuba who Castro threw out all of those people in Cuba that were basically raping the country. Mobsters were there. The United States government was over there. They had casinos over there that didn't fall under the jurisdiction and the laws of here in the United States. So they were over there living it up. And most of the people that were over there that were doing well were the light-skinned Cubans, right? Which Hispanics refer to as whitey, because they can't act as white people. So that's just about everywhere you go in the country that was colonized. That if you are fair-skinned and close to white, you have a better situation than the darker people, right? You get treated better. They do things for you. And when they did that in Cuba, you know, they flipped on them and threw them all out. So when you look in Florida, or you listen to anybody that talks about Castro, they're all whitey-looking Cubans. Because if you go to Cuba today, all of them are dark-skinned.
Yes.
Right? And because they threw everybody out, the United States put an embargo on them, and they're not allowed to have anything shipped in or shipped out and all of that. And they've been living in the same conditions since that happened. All of their cars are from the 50s, and they're still running them. They have the best medical system over there. We actually send our doctors from here over there to learn.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, and everybody made this big deal about the Ukraine and Russia, and how the Russians are forcing the Ukraine, you know, and want to go to war with them to take that country back because they're claiming it was once theirs, which it was once theirs. But the Ukraine sits on the border of Russia and the Soviet Union, all of those other countries. And historically, every time the Soviet Union or Russia was invaded, it was entered through the Ukraine, right? So the Ukraine sits on its border, and the Russians said, Vladimir Putin said, listen, you can't join NATO. NATO is my enemy, and live right here next to me, which is the same thing the United States did when Russia was trying to put missiles in Cuba.
Yeah.
Kennedy
I remember
said,
that.
you can't do that shit, or we going to war. Long story short, Russia backed down and said, all right, we ain't going to mess with you. Right? But this is what the same thing Vladimir Putin is saying about the Ukraine. He's telling them, you cannot join NATO.
Yeah.
And sit right here in my house. And that's what the beef is. And then on top of that, you know, when it came time for guys like the Americans to lead there, the ones that were black, they was like treating them like trash. You know, people of color get treated like dirt in all of these countries that are colonized. You know, Africans from Africa speak multiple languages, and all their languages are from colonization, along with their tribal language, right? And somebody brought this to my attention. They said, have you ever heard an African speak Russian? And I said, wow, no. And he said, reason being is Russia has never colonized any country.
Wow.
It's the same in China.
Every NATO country, France, Germany, Italy, Spain, England, all of them colonized massive countries inside of the continent of Africa, which is not even really named Africa. But prior to that, there were no borders. You didn't need a passport to travel from here to there until colonization kicked in, and they started carving out land that belonged to the colonizers. So if France owned Nigeria or whatever, they created a border, and you needed a passport to go from here to here, point A to point B, because if you pass here, this is Spain's territory, that's England's territory, and it's all African land.
You know, it's so funny. I'm glad you mentioned that. I'm going to ask you, I'm going to bring Stefania in to get her take in on what we were talking about the mayor being called a communist. But I want you to come back, Rich and Jimmy, to talk about why do you feel they have so much issues with people joining NATO. Okay, just keep that in your Rolodex. So Stefania, we were just talking, and I know you got some topics too you want to talk. And welcome, always a pleasure. So, what's your thoughts on they calling the mayor communist? and then we're going to get back to some of the other topics that I know you want to talk about too. So go ahead.
Are they calling him a communist or a socialist?
I mean, a socialist. I'm sorry. I'm
Okay.
socialist. Yes.
I don't think that he is, but I mean, socialism, from what I've seen in other countries, it doesn't seem like it's that bad of a thing. Like Canada, they have healthcare. A lot of people from here go to Canada, like if they have cancer or whatever, to get treatment.
Yep.
I mean, I guess if socialism is a bad thing, then what about our educational system? Because public education will be considered a socialist system because it's free up until after high school.
After high school.
Yeah. So I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing. I just think about how it's implemented, but I don't think Mamdani has any socialist ideology. I personally don't believe so. And even if he did and wanted to, they would shoot him down. Same thing like they did with the free buses and the free trains. That's not going to happen. So,
right.
Yeah.
And then I just saw something recently about the deficit that supposedly he was able to handle that. And people.
Yes, I did see that.
Yeah.
Like it's not even 6 months, and he was able to do that. If that's true, because I read it, but I don't know how factual it is.
Facts.
If it's true, he was able to do that within 6 months, compared to we've had other mayors, their term would pass, they would get reelected, and there's still a deficit. So
yeah,
it begs a lot of questions.
I told a gentleman one time, we was talking about the socialist aspect, and I said, our military.
Hello?
All the military people get free health care, veterans. He was like, that's different. I said, why is it different?
Mm-hmm.
Just because it's the military, so now it's the old great USA, it's okay. But not that I don't have a problem with it, but if somebody can implement something and make something happen, let's knock it. I'm not saying Mamdani is great. I don't know yet. The report card is not complete yet. It's an incomplete. Has he turned?
He's still fresh. He's still. It hasn't even been 6 months yet. So
yeah, but I told somebody, I said the reason why he was able to get in was because people was tired of the old guards. What I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And stuff like that. Yeah. Everybody was tired of the same old politician that's been a politician for 30 years and still hasn't seen a change to our liking.
Absolutely. Running the same game, same tricks.
Yeah. Yo, Rich and Jimmy, do y'all want to talk about that NATO thing before I ask Stefania if there's a topic she wants to talk about?
Say the question again.
I was asking you, why do you think people always have a problem with other countries joining NATO? Like you was talking earlier about one country getting a problem, the fact that if they join NATO, they're going to have an issue with them and stuff like that.
Well, that I was speaking specifically for Russia when it comes to the Ukraine joining NATO.
No, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
The NATO alliance is a bunch of colonization countries that, for the most part, monopolize the African region and steal all its resources. And it's about staying in power to be able to do that, And that's just my opinion about that. I mean, a lot of these African countries now are turning away from these European colonizations, and they're kicking them out, because all of the riches and resources that they have in Africa, why are they starving? And the small countries like France and England and all these little countries have been eating off of these large continents of indigenous people while they sit around and are poor. But these countries support their wealth solely on the colonization of these countries. Mm-hmm. It's crazy that this is not a topic that people of color aren't really weighing in on like they should. And I kind of know why, because people have conformed to a particular way of life that you get from these countries that are in NATO and the United States, and that's that whole get rich or die trying thing,
Yeah, it's about money.
Getting not rich enough to live comfortably for the rest of your life. It's about getting so rich that you can starve the rest of the people. Mm-hmm. You don't want anybody to be up here with you. You want everybody to be below you. because the fact of the matter is the wealth of these people rests on poor people, right? And the chaos that is created by the conditions in which we live in that force people to do things that will incarcerate them, cause trauma, mental illness. There's so many things that happen when you living in this society and you fall victim to its trappings, right? And the truth of the matter is Jeff Bezos and everybody like him that falls in that category of wealth, one of them can end poverty by themselves, can feed the world, and make it where nobody will be starving ever again. But they won't do it. They can do it and still be rich, but they won't do it because there's money and chaos. They depend on people, number one, eating the bad food that's produced by all the pharmaceutical companies that own all the major food companies. Pharmaceutical companies own them all. You name them, there are pharmaceutical companies that own them. And they put shit in our food that no other country allows you to put in their food.
Yeah.
We eat it here, we get sick off of it, and then the doctors are reading from what they're taught that, okay, if this guy shows symptoms of this, then I got to prescribe that. They're not trying to cure you, they're trying to treat you with pharmaceuticals. With pharmaceuticals. Now remember back when we was kids, if you went to the pharmacy, it didn't say pharmacy. What did it say? Drugstore.
Yeah, the drugstore, yeah.
You don't see a pharmacy today with that labeling. Drugstore. They all say pharmacy. Because that label of drugs hits too hard at home today. Right?
Yeah, that's a different verbiage.
Go down to the drugstore and get me a pack of Newports. You know? And that's what you did. Without really thinking consciously that this is really a drugstore, because that's what they're selling in here, drugs. Our kids today, unlike when we were kids in high school and stuff like that, when somebody was high for some shit, we knew what it was. We knew guys were smoking weed, smoking angel dust, sniffing coke, sniffing or shooting dope. You know, and for the most part, that's what it was, you know? Not to say there wasn't no other drugs, but in our neighborhoods, that's really what was plaguing our neighborhoods, the heroin, the cocaine, the weed, you know, angel dust. Today, these kids are taking opioids, all kinds of painkiller medication, psychotropic medication, and in my humble opinion, being a former educator, I watched how this whole IEP program started, where they would evaluate kids that were having issues with behavior issues, mainly behavior issues, and they would say they were attention deficit disorders. So they would convince parents for them to be tested for an IEP, and the parents would be like, what's that? They said, well, if we test him and they find out that he's deficient in blah, 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 we can get services for him. And these services may include anything from counseling to medication, right? So if we can evaluate him or her and they fall into this category, there is money for it, right? Not only is it money to service them by helping them get counseling, in some cases a one-on-one para, and all of this money was tallied up to pay for the so-called services, right? And a lot of this stuff came about because the Department of Education's budget got cut, right? Especially when Bloomberg came into office. He chopped the whole alternative ed program, which is what I worked in for 19 years. He just chopped the whole thing. We had to reapply for our jobs in other districts of schools, right? Now, this guy created this IEP program. Well, he didn't create it, but the IEP program was designed to get money to pay for so-called services, right? So a lot of schools whose budgets got sacrificed realized that, okay, I'm getting $1 for Johnny, but if Johnny has an IEP, I'm getting 10, right? But this 10 is supposed to go to services. But what the school winds up doing is that they chop up the services. So say this kid is supposed to get a one-on-one para to be with him the whole time, all day. They'll take that one para and might assign that one para to 3 kids and keep the money for the other individual paras. They'll put the kid on medication, and the parent will wind up getting a check also, right? Because there are services that got to apply outside of school. So the parents sign up because they saying, yo, I'm going to get a check too. So they like, bet, sign me up.
Yeah.
You know? So now what happens is, all of a sudden, our kids are walking around outside of school, up and down the street, selling and getting prescriptions from the doctor and busting them down in the street. You got people that in car accidents to get those painkillers, oxycodone and all of that shit, and then they flip it in the street. And our kids are buying this stuff. So our kids are literally walking around like zombies, and they're crushing this shit up, putting fentanyl and shit, and weed. You see how these kids are smoking weed? They smoking weed like it's crack.
Yeah, and it's so funny. Yeah,
bag after bag after bag after bag, and it all boils down to what I said earlier about it being money and chaos.
Yeah,
there's money to be made every time an arrest happens. One guy gets arrested on the corner, from the person that puts the cuffs on him to him going to the precinct getting fingerprinted, them him getting processed there, transferred in the van to go down to Central Booking. Then they get him. Then the correctional department, court officers take over from there. Then they getting their money. The stenographer gets their money. The lawyer gets their money.
Yeah. Listen, it's so funny. Yeah, let me tell you
and
something.
Everybody's eating off of that one arrest. So just imagine the thousands, the hundreds of thousands of people that get arrested on an ongoing basis that are dealing with, for the most part, trauma of their day-to-day life, living in a project like a polo grounds that's 30-story high, 4 buildings in a 5-block radius.
Yeah.
Now, projects are just that, a project that the city has, and white folks monopolize public assistance and NYCHA. And if you go down to the see the Knicks game, Madison Square Garden, 2 blocks from Madison Square Garden, I would park my car and walk down there, and I would pass brownstone buildings. And if you look closely on the building, it says NYCHA.
Yeah.
White people are living in projects that are brownstone buildings.
Yeah, you're right. You know, it's so funny. I'm glad you said this. Hold on, let me just take a break. Everybody, this is Real Talk Chronicles. I'm your host, Bill Forster, with my co-host, Richard Williams. And we have Stefania. What's it? How you pronounce your last name again?
Francois.
Oh, I got it right now. I can't never lose it. Francois. I got it. I just want to make sure I pronounce it properly, because our little sister, she's a little sister to Real Talk Chronicles. She's always been supportive of everything we've done. And I'm glad she started to chime in with us. And of course, I got my neighbor, my man, James Garrett, to those that don't know him, Jimmy to me. You know what I'm saying? It's all good. Rich, that was a great topics that you had mentioned and stuff. I want to bring Stefania in and see if she wants to talk about something. And of course, Jimmy, we all can chime in and open panel it. So Stefania, is there anything that specifically that you want to discuss?
Well, one thing when Rich was talking that brought something to mind. I don't know if you guys have been following that trial of the rapper that was killed in Florida. And they sentenced some of the gunmen. One of them, he's actually going to get the death penalty, and he pled for life. And the warden at the jail said, yes, we can use a strong black man. We could put him to work. So when Rich was saying that, like, it's a money, yeah, he said that.
Wow.
So it's like when Rich said that, it's like, oh yeah, I remember this happened, I think, this week or last week. So that brought that to mind.
No, absolutely. You know what's so funny? I think I have a little brief concept of that, but I don't know in detail. But I do remember about the rapper. You know, it's so funny. People listen.
And it's sad. He's young. I think he's 19, 18, 19?
Yeah.
Life.
I think a lot of people misconstrue, and Jimmy knows a lot about this. You know, Jimmy, may I mention it?
Sure, you could.
Um, Jimmy's son, rest in peace to Phoenix, was killed, and there was a whole. It was all in the news. It was all in the news and stuff like that. And Jimmy was an advocate for fighting for justice for his son in regards to this, and I commend him. I applaud him for his due diligence, and it could have went left and right from a street aspect to Jimmy went the political way and stuff like that. But a lot of people were out there. I will not mention any names and stuff like that. But I mean, Jimmy can mention it because it's his story. I will not mention it. But the thing is, I'm just saying all that because people have to understand, yo, you don't see or they don't tell you about white artists fighting and getting into gunplay and getting mad over somebody this and somebody that and things of that magnitude. But our people of color, we like to get into like it becomes clickbait. This one talking this one talking heavy to that one. This one want to roll on this one with this crew and this one. Listen, you guys have become successful people. Make your money and be quiet. Just stay out the limelight. It ain't that serious. This one arguing with that one. This one arguing with this one.
I think it's just the change of times. Like people now, especially the young people, like they want to go viral. They want that moment. They want the clicks. They want the views. They want, you know, like they say, there's no such thing as bad publicity. So I think the thing is they don't think long term, like, oh man, I can really go to jail for 30 years, life, or, you know, I can lose my life. You know, they don't think of those things. So it's really unfortunate.
They don't think about the collateral damage.
I'm gonna let Jimmy come in. I'm not trying to stay in the house for 30 days. You know,
I know. That's what I'm always thinking. Like, I want to go outside.
Go to jail.
Right?
Ain't nothing jail about this over here. Ain't nothing. Listen, hold on. Mark just chimed in. He says, "I love when RTC is back doing what it all do." Good, quick question, Rich. How do you feel about the NAACP asking recruits to choose HBCUs instead of predominantly white schools in the South, giving the ruling of the Voting Rights Act?
Say, how do I feel about what?
Can you see it on your screen?
No, he's driving.
Oh, you driving?
Yeah.
Hey, listen, Stefania, read it for him. Hey, listen. At the bottom line is, you took my advice. I told you it was gonna rain, kid.
It was pouring. I got soaked all the way up to my legs.
Yo, listen. I told my bro right here. I said, yo, listen. He was about to do something else. I said, you know, it's gonna rain. He was like, what? I said it's gonna rain. So, Stefania, read Mark's question to him, please.
Sure. It says, I love when RTC is back doing what y'all do. Quick question. Rich, how do you feel about the NAACP asking recruits to choose HBCUs instead of predominantly white schools in the South, given the ruling of the Voting Rights Act?
Well, Voting Rights Act or not, I always believed in us supporting our own. You know, a lot of these schools have gotten the better ball players, and these Ivy League schools offering benefits that HBCUs could not afford. You know,
that's true.
So I believe that we should support our own schools. I believe that we are so busy trying to be acceptable to other people that we turn our backs on our own. You know, I always have this conversation with people when it comes to, you know, zoning, when it pertains to your child going to a better school, and that we always argue, well, why can't we go to the school down here, which is also a public school, but when you live in a certain district, that's where they say that you should go to school at, right? But if you're living downtown and you're living in an affluent neighborhood where the people have more money than you, they put their kids in those schools and they invest in those schools so much that the public school looks like a private school, you know? So you got the PTA, the Parent Teachers Association, that get together and they say, oh, does the school need AC for throughout the school? Yes, let's get it. Do we need iPads and laptops for the kids? Yes, let's get it. You know, and this is to a public school. You know, and then they'll get that money and they'll form this association under nonprofit status, donate their money, and then they'll fix up their public schools. And then they don't want our kids to be in that school because we live in Harlem. We live over here. And they say, well, they don't live here, so they shouldn't be able to go to school here. For the simple fact is they're investing their own money, right? And then the black people that do and can afford to move to their neighborhoods will then take their money and put it in that white school, all white public school.
Let me interject for a second, Rich. You said something so prominent. I remember when I was going to school and I had a choice between Catholic school and public school. And they was like, well, if you go to this public school, you got to go to the zoning. So you could only go to either Brandeis or Martin Luther King. And then if you go to other schools, it depends on this and depends on that. You know, it's so funny. And then when in regards to HBCU schools, and Jimmy, I can bring you in, and Stefan, you can come back and then we could just open it up. You knew about that from family that was going to it. Like all my families, most of my families from the DMV area, probably like 98% of them. So HBCU schools were just, it was automatic. And I remember now I was supposed to go to Howard, and I remember that the fact that I was like, I got cousins graduated cum laude and this MAGA this and that and this and that, and I was like, oh Jesus Christ!
Oh, like Dr. Porter.
yeah, exactly. And my other cousin, you know, and it was so funny because back then when Dr. Porter and her family was growing up, and my mother and them, there was only 2 black schools in DC, so everybody knew each other.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody knew each other. It wasn't like being from Harlem. If you went to, I think it was Dunbar or something, or another school, everybody knew somebody. You went to school with your cousins, your best friends, your neighbors, this and that. It was only 2 schools to my recollection. And then coming up, my cousins on my mother's side and my father's side, they know each other. They were in the same schools, unbeknown to them before they were cousins, because of the connection. So when they all went to Howard, it hit my little Harlem ass, like, oh, you're going to go to Howard. I was like, oh my God, what pressure. I went down there for a lot of homecomings. Do I wish I would have went to Howard? Absolutely. I really do. My college courses and where I was going was a whole different thing. But Jimmy, you went to college, correct? Where'd you go?
Yeah. Okay. Let me just tell you a little story about my college experience, if I may.
Please, absolutely.
When I was getting ready to go to college, I got a baseball scholarship to a school in Colorado called Rangeley College. Okay. And I was getting ready to be drafted to go into the military. And at that time, everybody was going into they didn't want to go into the Vietnam War. All right, so I went to this school in Colorado, had 360 students. The main street was the main highway. And that was the beginning of my college experience, but I didn't have a choice back then. I got a letter in the mail offering me this scholarship, so I took it. But when I got out, that was a junior college, I had won a Ford Foundation scholarship. So I had maybe 40 different schools I could have gone to. I could have gone to Notre Dame. I could have gone to so many other different schools, but I chose Michigan State. And the reason why I chose Michigan State, because when we used to play football in the street, this is going on, this is dating my age. In 1965, Notre Dame and Michigan State, they played for the national championship, right? Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And during that time, there were very few black players on teams. Mm-hmm. Michigan State had 22 black players, 11 starters, a black quarterback, which was unheard of, okay? And By the way, the president was black, Clifton R. Wharton, who
Okay.
became the first black president of a major university. He also became the chancellor of the the New York State college system. But as far as going to like the HBCUs, and then I was terrified to go to the South.
Yeah.
Oh.
You know, I was terrified because I grew up doing the when George Wallace and all that, when James Meredith, he tried to go to the University of Alabama, and George Wallace is standing there with 300 soldiers and everything, talking about ain't no niggas coming in here. So I didn't want to go. People don't remember that. Bull Connor with the bullhorn and telling people, I mean, it was crazy, you know. So when I had a choice to go to somewhere else, I said no. Now, in retrospect, if I could, I wish I would have been able to go to an HBCU because they had a good education. Most of the people that I know who came from the HBCU, they really came into, you know, developing into somebody. But I was terrified to go down south.
You know, it's so funny. I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you said that. Stefania, I'm sorry, Jimmy. I'm going to ask Stefania a question, and it's pertaining to all of us. Stefania, you're the baby of the bunch, right? You like this bunch, and you know you're dealing with buffering. You got me? Yeah. Oh, you and I have discussed music and stuff like that, and I know what you listen to when you work out and stuff, and you know, like so we've had conversations. I respect your old soul energy, but what do you think about your generation compared to the energy that you already have as an old soul? And Jimmy and Rich and I talking about things historically, and you're very knowledgeable. But what's your just thought process of this your generation? What are you? Are you Z? You're not.
No, millennial.
You're millennial. Okay, so
yeah.
What's your thought process on how do we become better people? You know what I'm trying to say? And because you're an old soul, I don't know where you get it from. Thank your parents for that. Thank your brothers and sisters who remember. But thank you for that. Go ahead.
How do we do better? I think we have to get back to how things used to be. Family values, being a community. I feel like a lot of people claim that they want a village, but they don't want to be part of a village. I think it's just going back to what we know works and what we've seen work. And I think that's just like just getting back to those foundational things will help us move forward, because it seems like right now family is not really a thing, or it's like, you know, it's so scattered. It's not like, you know, family, marriage, all that's like pillars of the community. We don't really have that as we did back then. And, you know, it's like everyone is here, like mom is, kid is here, dad is here, and there's no really coming together. Being, you know, usually like if something happens, you can run to your neighbor. Some people don't have, like, I can do that here, but a lot of people don't have that.
Understood.
So I think just getting back to what's always worked, you know, having elders and we actually listen to them, listen to wise counsel, because, you know, some people are older, but they're not wise. So listening to wise counsel, taking advice, you know, and doing what we know works instead of trying to just go against everything and to see, oh, what happens. We don't have to do that.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I think that was excellent. Rich, Jimmy, Rich, whoever wants to go first.
Give me that question again.
Yeah.
Well, basically, I was asking Stefania, how does she feel in regards to her having an old soul, talking to gentlemen like ourselves, right? Because, you know, right now, Jimmy is a little older than us by 1 year. I'm just Rich, you and I are we rocking that 6-digit figure, you know.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
I was
listen,
saying,
man. I'm on Route 66.
yeah, there you go. There you go.
I'm on a different one, a little higher.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know?
I'm hitting Jimmy Maris numbers,
Mhm.
61. You know what I'm saying? Going on
Okay.
62. So what I was saying is, Stefania, I asked her being an old soul, because like I said, I've had conversations with her before, and and I just alluded to the playlist, like she talks about the music like she listens to when she works out. Like she may understand her millennial music, but she doesn't. She rocks out, and then you're very knowledgeable. Like you're sitting down here with I'll use the word respectfully, elder statesmen. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you're holding a good conversation. You know what I'm
Mhm.
trying to say? And you're always welcome back. You know that, and I'm telling you that honestly. Like I enjoy your energy. You was a supporter before you became a panelist. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So now you're a panelist / supporter. I was asking her, Rich and Jimmy, just basically, what does she feel can be done to bridge the gap of our communities, the young being educated more. I think, Stefania, correct me if I'm wrong. And you was like, we need to get back to some old school values,
Yes.
right? So that's what I was just saying, Rich. There's a question I want to ask you all before we get off, but what do we have to do to get back to some kind of wholesomeness and educate our people? Because let me tell you something. The three of us here, I don't know about you, Stefania, but the three of us here know what a spanking is. We know what an ass whipping is. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yes.
Yeah.
Ass whipping, not spanking.
Yeah. Ass whipping. The name has changed over the years, but
Hmm.
we got ass whippings. You know what I'm
And
trying
we
to
got
say?
it in school.
Hey, Bill. I'm glad you brought that up
Go ahead.
because what I really wanted to talk about also was, okay, you got the new Michael Jackson movie that came out, and there have been some other documentaries and TV made movies
Mm-hmm.
on that about the whole Jackson family thing. And I was having a discussion with a friend of mine who saw the movie before I did, and he said it was a good movie, but he was like dogging Joe Jackson for being the kind of father that used to put hands on his kids,
Yeah.
right? And he called it abuse. You know, he abused Michael,
Yeah.
and then he
Yeah.
abused the other kids and stuff like that. And people's opinion about whether Joe abused those kids or not, but have their opinion rather. But there is no narrative that speaks to Joe's parenting ability during the 50s, because he started them kids in the 50s where he had aspirations to be an entertainer and a boxer and things himself. And when his then girlfriend got married, got pregnant, he married her and put everything that he was going to do on the shelf. And he had 9 kids before they developed into anything.
Yeah.
And he was working a job. He was working a job at a time where it was hard to get a job, and then to get a job, you working like a slave. And he was supporting 9 kids.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
two bedroom house, right? And no matter what, he still showed up for them. And then he managed to be able to keep those boys, 6 of them,
Out the street. Out the
and
street.
3 girls from the trappings of what was going on outside of his door.
And Gary, Indiana. People understand. They don't understand Gary, Indiana.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's right.
And then you got to realize this too. He managed to create the first, in this country, family dynasty.
Yeah.
Just think about that. The Jackson family are known throughout the world. You can go in the Congo, in the bushes somewhere, and they can tell you who Michael Jackson is.
Yo, Rich, you could be right there about to be like, you about to hit him up, and they be like, wait, is Michael Jackson on or the Jacksons?
Exactly.
Yo, okay, yeah, be there.
Yeah. And the whole narrative about the Jackson family and everything that they do, that chronicle their life, speaks to the father like a tyrant. That he had no value other than he was a brutalizer. you know. And like you were saying a minute ago, we grew up in a time where you were disciplined, not just by your family, by any elder that caught you out there out of pocket.
Real talk, real talk. And let me just interject for a second, partner. Let me tell you something. People don't understand, and I'm glad you mentioned it. I haven't seen the movie yet, but the thing is, I've heard this, and I'm a little perturbed, and I use that word loosely, by the narrative of him being abused and stuff like that. Let me tell you something. How else would he regulate 9 kids? But he had to put some hands on somebody's ass. You know what I'm saying?
And 6 of them were boys.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And then Gary, Indiana. Anybody knows anything about Gary, Indiana? That ain't no a cakewalk. So I say all this to say that a lot of people they fringe upon the way we were brought up, but the bottom line is it's what's needed. Now, is there a fine line between the way we were brought up and a different way? Yeah, but let me tell you something. I don't regret, and I can say this in social media world, YouTube, Facebook Live, whatever. I don't regret any hands I got. You know what I'm saying? I don't regret it because it made me a man. Could it make me a little tougher? Did it make me tougher? Show a weakness? I mean, take away a little bit of sensitivity. You know, I mean, because think about the psychological aspect of this, Jimmy, right? And Rich and Stefani. I don't know if you've experienced, but I know you come from a Caribbean family, so you might got your hands put on you too. So the thing is, yo, you beat my ass and then tell me don't cry. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yes. Oh my God. That's like saying.
And you had to shut up on cue. You had to shut up on cue. Hey, Phil, they say shut up, and you go, huh?
Yeah. Yo,
you swallowed that shit.
It's not
you know
tears
something?
and pain. You.
But the ass
And then
whipping
they
was
say,
all around.
shut up before I give you something to cry about.
Word.
That wasn't enough.
You don't think hit me with that leather belt wasn't enough to cry about? Go ahead, Jimmy. Chime in, Jimmy.
Yeah, well, I used to get the ironing cord. You
Oh.
know, I used to get the ironing cord, and I had to get naked.
Yeah,
The extension cord. The extension
Okay,
cord.
I had to get naked. Yeah, and I didn't get no 1 or 2. I mean, I got my ass whipped. You know, and then it carried on into school because I went to Frederick Douglass Junior High School on 140th Street.
Yeah.
Okay. Matter of fact, one of my teachers was Holcomb Rucker.
Oh.
Okay. Now, he wasn't an abuser. He was revered. But the teachers walked around with paddles called jokers.
Yeah.
Or they would walk around with 18
on
inch
149th, 148th Street.
Huh?
149th, 148th Street and 7th.
Right. No, Douglass was 140th Street.
ISN.
Yeah, okay. The teachers had 18-inch rulers, about 5 of them, rubber band together. And when you did something wrong, you had to bend your ass over and they beat you. There was this one time in shop class, Mr. Wilson, somebody did something in the classroom and Mr. Wilson thought I did it. So he said, come here, Garrett. You know what you got to do? You got to bend over and take this ass whipping. I said, Mr. Wilson, I didn't do it. He says, you did it. I said, Mr. Wilson, I didn't do it. And I looked him into the eye and I said, I gave him this thing like, I know I was questioning his authority, but at the same time, I gave him some logic. I said, Mr. Wilson, I didn't do it. I said, you're going to beat me and my butt is going to be red. And then when you find out that I didn't do it, oh, you're going to be able to do it, say sorry.
Yeah.
But my butt is still going to be red. And he said, okay, Garrett, I think you didn't do it. You know, but that's how school was back then. Schools was like that. And then Dr. Spock came in there and they took all of that out. I mean, I don't advocate for people to get their ass whipped because it got out of hand sometimes.
No, I do. I advocate it. You know, I do. I really do. You know, Yeah, I do. I think there's a lot of ass whippings that haven't been given out yet, and you know what's so funny?
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, as parents, you learn to alter how you chastise and reprimand your children. You understand what I'm saying? And I understand that, because the way we were brought up, you might say, oh, I don't want to do that to my kid. But then the only time when that comes out of you is when your kid try to flex and act like they want to test that chin.
Yes.
And then you have to let them know, like, yo, I remember my father one time, I swear, you know, Jimmy, you know my father, like, I never forget one time we was doing something and I was playing around and I slapped him, pop. He's like, oh. He said, yo, the shit was funny. He was like, oh. He's like, oh, so that's what you went to? Yo, he had his glasses, he took his glasses on, and he got into this little Joe Louis boxing stance and shit. All I heard was, oh. I was like, yo. And it was just like he was rocking and coming to me. And I was like, oh, now I felt like I was a white woman in a horror movie. I was running and trying to get away from it, and I couldn't get out the room. You know what I'm saying? Yo, let me tell you something. Yo, it's needed. Let me tell you something. I know a lot of people scared to go to jail, because that was gonna be my last question. I know, Rich. I know you're trying to get in a minute. Rich, I've got the timestamp for you. You got 15 minutes on the thing. Stefania, what else? Stefania, what else? I know there was another topic you want to talk about, that virus shit that is out, right?
Oh yeah, because now they said there's people in New Jersey that have it.
Yo, what about traveling? That people are getting on planes and boats and all kind of shit. And now everybody coughing and getting sick. And yo, listen, call me scared, but just don't say it to my face. I'm not going anywhere right now with a lot of diseases and stuff like that. I don't feel like getting sick. The bottom line, I got too much shit to do. And
you don't think you'll travel this summer?
Well, I have no problems traveling. But you know, like I'm not
traveling like abroad.
First, let me put it this way: I'm not a big traveler. I don't really care, right? And I'll travel to my backyard, or I'll travel to Riverside Drive. And you know what I'm saying? If the money that I put in my backyard, I could have went around the world like 19 times. You know what I'm trying to say? Mm-hmm. But and then, you know, people love to travel. But you know what? It's like me. I'm not a foodie. I can't see going out spending $150, $200 to eat, and then come home and go to the bathroom and it's gone, and then talk about, oh, I like the ambiance. I don't care about ambiance. Malika will tell you. When we started dating, I said, yo, listen, sweetie, you're beautiful, you're gorgeous. I want to rock with you. But I said, I'm not a foodie. Keep your girlfriends, keep your male friends. Anything that's going to help you feed your appetite. You know, I didn't give you money. Go out. I'm not that dude. Sit me up. I'm not that guy. And then when I go home, talk about, where are you? Shh. Yo, not me. I'm not that kid. I eat out of necessity. I'm a drinky, but I'm not a foodie. So I mean, everybody got their thing. You know what I'm saying? Everybody got their feast of famine. Now, do we I know this, like we talked about Dubai, we talked about other places. Some people travel just to say they traveled. Mm-hmm. Right? They their account is in overdraft, but they traveling. They all over the fucking world. Wait a minute. You got 9 credit cards and they all at max, but you traveling. You got travel money. So I just think people need to prioritize their traveling. Now, if you want to travel, I'm not saying you personally. I'm just saying people that want to travel. Listen, I spend my money this way. You spend your money that way. Mm-hmm. Listen, and right now with everything that's happening in the world, I know it'll be my black behind, Stefania, that'll go to a foreign country.
And you be the one to get it?
Yeah, and I'll be the one that'll be like, oh, you was on Real Talk Chronicles talking shit.
Hey, Bill, you won't even make it to the country. You'll be on the fucking boat. Singing
Yo.
the motherfucker.
Yo, Rich, they'll be like, oh, you the one that's talking heavy with the you swift with your mouth. Now you over here in this country. What you gonna do? How you gonna get home? Ain't nobody coming to get you. Cause you know I'm a Democrat. Trump ain't coming to get me.
Ain't nobody
So
coming to see you, Otis.
Listen, I gotta watch these motherfuckers around. I gotta watch these cats around me that don't like me.
Hey, Bill, ain't nobody coming to see you, Otis.
No, you right about that. Nobody coming to see Otis. Nobody coming to see Otis.
Well, right now he's the only living one. Is that the irony?
Yeah. Otis is the only living one.
Yeah, the only
And
one.
he still tours with them.
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
So I mean, you
Still
know,
getting a check. He's still getting a check.
yeah. Ain't nobody singing without Otis talking about give me the check. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So you know what's so funny? There's a lot of people that's traveling. I'm not knocking it, and the one aspect I love about it is don't be afraid to travel. Everybody got a hang up. Right now, I may not like heights. You know what I'm saying? Somebody might like heights. Some people don't like elevators. I can't tell you how to posture yourself. What I'm telling you is what I'm not going to do. I'm not trying to get on no cruise ships with people coughing and shit and all kind of stuff. Listen, I'm not trying to get on any planes and go to some foreign countries where next to you
Bill,
know.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to fly. I'm not trying to go on no tall ass buildings.
Nah.
I'm not trying to go underground. I don't. Nope. I'm claustrophobic. I'm afraid of them flying. Yeah, listen. If I get on the plane, I got to be like Mr. T. You got to drug me.
In the A-team.
Yeah, man.
Wow.
Listen, let me tell you something. So I don't knock it. Everybody at the Feast of Famine, because there's got to be somebody that's going to say, oh, shit, I told her or I told him. And I'm that guy. I'm going to be the guy that says, yo, I told Stefania don't go. Because you know I'm just using you as an example. I'm gonna say, yo, don't go. Listen, and I'm not gonna tell you not to go because you're a grown woman and you're gonna spend that money the way you want because you earned it and you worked for it. But the one thing Billy Foster's not gonna do, I'm not gonna put myself in a position that I can't handle. Let me tell you something. There's no way in hell that I don't have a Liam Neeson in my life. I do. I do, but maybe on this soil, not over in the country. I don't have somebody that's going to say, "Listen, I have a certain set of skills that make life hard for people like you." Listen, if you
I'm
let
just not leaving here to put it on you.
Rich, Jimmy, somebody, if you let Bill go, I will not pursue you. But if you do not, I will pursue you and kill you. I don't have nobody that's saying no shit like that.
Hey, Bill. Moreover, if Stefania out there and she call you and say, Bill, they coming to get me. Bill, you gonna say, Stefania, they're gonna take you.
Rich, Stefania, Rich, and Jimmy, you know what's worse than that? I'm gonna say, so you're not gonna be on the show tonight?
Oh my God, I can't. Like, oh man.
Yo, put one of them motherfuckers on so we can talk about it.
Yo, Stefania, I'm gonna say, yo, turn the camera to that motherfucker like this. I'm gonna be like, turn it to her. I'm gonna be like, yo, listen, hold on. I want to you gotta let my little sister go, but I want to interview you too. I want to know what's going on in your head. Why are you acting a fool? You know what I'm trying to say? And he's like, I'm going to kill her. I say, whoa. Let her go. I got your picture on the camera. I'm going to pass it to the government. You know what I'm saying? So, Stefania, do you have plans to go away this summer?
No, not right now. I don't have anything planned right now.
Mm-hmm.
What about you, Jimmy? You going anywhere?
Yeah, I do.
Where you going?
I'm figuring out how to get there. I got to go to Charleston, South Carolina.
Oh, okay. That you can drive there. You can take a plane. No. But I'm just saying.
I mean, you can drive, but I ain't got nobody to drive. My cousins, they can't drive.
Yeah, well, so
You know.
you're gonna do the domestic. You can do the little quick domestic. That's LaGuardia. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
As long
I
as you
know.
get the traffic.
Yeah.
No, I'm
But I
not.
think right now with flying, prices are so high because the fuel. So
Well,
ticket prices are so high now.
That's
Yeah.
why I'm
it's
trying to
plane,
get my
so
ticket
is
up
plane
now.
fuel. Yo, so is plane fuel. That's
Yeah.
high too.
Yeah.
Yeah, listen, let me tell you something. We got
Yeah.
a few more minutes. First and foremost, Stefania, is there anything, Jimmy, Rich, anything you want to talk about before we get out of here? Because the bottom line is, I appreciate you all. Jimmy, you're always welcome back. Stefania, you're already part of the family. I had to go find my man Rich today. He was about to watch the game without me, but it's all good. I got him.
Not
Yo,
Richie
brother.
Rich.
He holding me up now. I'm trying to get
Oh,
upstairs.
yeah, it's about to start.
Well, Rich, that's why I'm gonna let you go in a few minutes but it's not on yet. I'm watching. I got the timestamp for you.
But wait, who you guys rooting for? You want the Knicks?
I'm rooting for the Knicks. We playing tomorrow.
Oh.
Hey, listen, I want to say what I got to say before we get off.
Go ahead.
I only got one thing to say. Knicks in 4.
Okay. Jimmy?
I'm going with the Knicks as well. It's a great team, man. It's a great team. And Jalen Brunson is a monster.
Yes,
Yeah.
he's good.
He's a
Stefania,
monster,
I told you, I don't know if you're in a relationship, I don't know your business, but I told you if you don't know about sports, it's a great time to get into it. You know what I'm saying? You could be like this. You'd be like, oh, what's that? They'd be like, oh, she cute. What you drinking? Oh, everybody, yo, listen. Usually we take the summer off, but due to politics and stuff like that, I think we will be making some guest spots. Everybody, Jimmy, come back, of course. Again, you're part of the family now, Stefania. You already know that.
Okay.
Rich, that's my bro. Everybody, before we leave, we give a positive affirmation. So, Stefania, you go first. Jimmy, and then Rich, give it up, and then we out of here.
Okay. Firstly, I want to say this conversation was very edifying. You guys are so knowledgeable. So I love, chatting with you all. And positive affirmation, I would just say try to enjoy each day to the fullest. It's already May. Soon summer will start and then it'll end just as quickly. So try to make the most out of every day.
All right.
Go ahead, Jimmy.
For me, it's about history. Because history is something that just repeats itself. And if you don't understand it, you can't go with, you can't move on what today's madness is, because that's all it is. It's a repetition of events that keep on happening. They just happen a different way. So history is important to me.
Yep. Rich?
Listen, man, you got to think about what's being said, what's going on around you, and ask questions. And be mindful that truth never needs protection from question.
That's what's up. I don't know who Mark was asking this question. He said, ask the young who's spotty. Do they know who Willie Throw? Is that Thrower? I took my glasses off.
Thrower.
Is that for you, Smiley, or?
I think it's for James.
Oh, the Spotty.
Oh, he said the attorney that I worked for went to school with Herb.
Herb Adderley. Yeah, he played for the Green Bay Packers.
Oh shit! Okay, Mark. He knows.
Oh, I know the history, man. I can talk sports, man.
Okay, all right.
All right, hey, listen, man. I got to get off the old train.
Okay.
Because the game is
Yeah.
Listen,
we out of here. Yo, next week if we do this Wednesday. Next week Wednesday, if y'all do this, y'all keep your schedule. Keep your schedules clear. Rich, run upstairs. You got an umbrella?
I don't need one. I'm nice like that.
Yo, everybody, this is Real Talk Chronicles. I'm your host, Bill Forster. That's Richard Williams, my co-host. That's Stefania Francois. And that's my man, Jimmy Garrett, James Garrett. Listen, this is Real Talk Chronicles. Come back to see us. Talk to you guys soon. Appreciate it.
Okay. Thank you
for
for
the
having me.
moment with positive vibes only. Later.
All right.